Boom, boom, boom. They were right on a plane. Don't know when they get back again. Plane came out the other week, and I just saw yesterday. And that was right off the top of my head. So Plane, the new action, kind of a throwback action film starring Gerard Butler, Mike Coulter, and that's pretty much it, starring those two. There's other actors, other characters, but it's really about those two characters, more or less. And I was actually surprised when I saw the level of review, the positive reviews a film like this was getting. Normally, you expect this to be in the high rotten range, like anywhere in the 40s to 50s, to maybe like low 60s. But no, as of right now, this film still holds and will most likely continue to hold. 76% Rotten Tomatoes. That's higher than a fair few other films. That's higher than A Man Called Otto, the new Tom Hanks film. That's higher than a solid amount of films that have come out recently. Does the film deserve that high of a rating? Well, that all depends on your definition of deserved. The film is fine. I wouldn't say it's good, but it's solid. It is, though, what you're expecting, and I don't think you should go in there expecting anything other than what this film has been advertising. A Gerard Butler-led 90s kind of throwback action film with mildly okay effects, some solid action, and him teaming up with a good like Luke Cage. that's it. That's all you should expect. It does have a little bit more going for it, but other than that, that's exactly what it is. And if you go in there with that mentality and you like that type of film, then you're probably going to enjoy this film. I can certainly say I had a good time with this film. It's not going to be my top 10 best list of the year, but I doubt it will be on my top 10 worst either, unless the year is just slim pickings for movies. Like, for example, I'm not going to be seeing, think words here. I'm not going to be seeing Missing just because other things come up and I'm behind on my weeks now, so there's other movies to be going out and seeing, and I'm not going to be seeing A Man Called Otto either. I really should do a better job of trying to go out and seeing a movie every week, but sometimes I can't do that. This week's going to be interesting. But what's the story? Its story is very simple. Gerard Butler plays Captain, what was it? Captain Brody Torrance. And basically he's not a disgraced pilot, but he was downgraded due to an incident that you see later on, in his history, where he basically had to assault a passenger to keep the passenger from assaulting other people. And the guy who was like running the optics is like, I'm liking this guy. And they have to do a flight through a storm to get to one place or another, and they end up crashing on an island somewhere in the Philippines, and it happens to have like separatists and bad people on that island. And it's his job, along with a convict played by Mike Coulter, to go and get these passengers back. And Mike Coulter is Louis Gaspar, Mr. Gaspar. Gaspar is, not what he seems. He's not really that bad a guy. We get his backstory. It's not anything amazing, but it's backstory, and then they fight. And then they go and fight the bad guys. That's pretty much it. And for a movie that is just so bare bones in terms of its plot, it handles itself well with the material it has. What's the actor who showed up later on? Tony Goldwyn comes in as he's like a cleanup man kind of. He works like the optics. He actually goes and gets like mercenaries. Like, yeah, we have to hire some contract help here. This is what I do for a living. And I always like seeing him show up because he's got a cool personality and presence to him. I always like seeing him. But Gerard Butler and Mike Coulter are the standouts, and they do good. I will say it is more so Gerard Butler's movie with Mike Coulter just happening to be there. But when Mike Coulter is asked to perform, he performs just fine. I will admit, because I spent 2 seasons and a season of Defenders and Jessica Jones, watching him as Luke Cage, it is a little difficult for me to see Mike Coulter as anything other than Luke Cage. But that said, I do like him in that role, and I like him as a performer. Like I won't be like jumping on my seats like Mike Coulter, but I'm like, if I see some Mike Coulter's in a movie, I'll be like, hey, Mike Coulter, cool. And he's good. I like him. He's got a little bit of fun banter with Gerard Butler, but Gerard Butler, as I said, is kind of the heart of the movie. And there are points where he is asked to do some acting that is, I think, above the pay grade of this movie. This movie apparently is cheaper than I thought it was to make, about 20 to 25 million. But if you just immediately go to if you immediately type in plain 2023 budget, it will kind of show on the side panel of Google like 50 million, but apparently it's only 2025, which is fine. Film barely had marketing, so it's probably only going to need about, doing the quick math in my head, wow, it's not even going to need 70 million to break even. Granted, it's not doing very well financially at this moment, but regardless. Um, so yeah, surprise. This turns almost no joke. This goes almost Captain Phillips levels of scene acting, what they're trying to portray. And if you remember Captain Phillips, that's the one with Tom Hanks, where they were based on a true story about a captain who was kidnapped by Somali pirates. And yeah, there's a fight sequence he has with a guy, which is a really good fight sequence. Like, it's pretty brutal and realistic, and he ultimately comes out and he kills the guy, and he's like in a legitimate shock at what he did, like, which is a legitimate reaction, especially if you have not actually been in a fight or have actually killed a man. It's a legitimate, like, you felt the panic, and then Mike Coulter comes in, gives him some water, and he's still like trying to process what just happened. And the fact is, like, he has to kill people one or two more times in the film, and he is never okay with it. And it's just, and I love it. And then there's this at the end of the movie. I don't think it's spoilers to say that ultimately things work out. There's a scene very much like the end of Captain Phillips where he's kind of now just takes everything in, and the shock finally sets in or wears off. And he just kind of like processes everything he's feeling at that moment for it. It was really good. Gerard Butler's really good in the film. Not like Oscar caliber or anything like that, but doesn't need to be. It's called Plane. And weirdly enough, the film was actually just kind of engaging from the get. Watching this guy just be a pilot, just interacting with the crew. I don't know what it is. I would love to watch this again with Mark's girlfriend, Sam. Because she is a legitimate Mark's girlfriend, Sam, is a legitimate pilot. I don't know the type. I'm pretty sure she just flies like small, like a single person or like only like few people aircrafts before, but she's a legitimate pilot. I would love to ask her, pick her brain while watching this movie about, is that right? Do you know if that's right? If that's because like doing the system checks, all that, I'm like, why is this fascinating? Like, I'm actually very engaged at this moment. Maybe it's just because Gerard Butler is just charming. He's one of those guys who I think his accent goes a long way, but his personality he's always had a fun personality. So I think that both of those meld for a guy who literally just doing his day-to-day routine as a captain of a plane is fascinating. Mike Coulter is still good in the movie, though. When he's on screen, he definitely stands out. He's got that presence to him. Maybe it's just the clothes they have both of them wearing, but he does not seem as big as when he played Luke Cage. But then again, he hasn't been Luke Cage for a couple of years now, and I don't know how often he regularly keeps in shape. I mean, he's still in good shape. There's nothing. Maybe they even asked him to slim down. But he's good. He's got a couple good lines here or there. He definitely works in the action sequences. I buy that, especially the one you see in the trailer with the sledgehammer. Like, I saw that and went, fuck. The action sequences, good segue, are actually pretty well done. There is some use of shaky cam, but it's not obnoxious in a Michael Bay way, or God forbid Snake. If you remember Snake Eyes from, I think, like 2 years ago, I think that's when Snake Eyes came out. That would have been 2020. No, wait, that would have been 20. Well, now it would have been 2021. But yeah, it was late. That wasn't. Yeah, it was late 2021 or mid to late 2021 when Snake Eyes came out. God Almighty, the action choreography looked good, from what I could tell, but the shaky cam was god awful. It was terrible. It was literally just here though. While the camera does shake and move, it is done to an effect where you feel the urgency of the scenario. You're still able to see everything going on too, but you feel the urgency of the fight and like the disorientation of it. When especially when it's a hand-to-hand fist fight, like the one Gerard Butler has in you see it in the trailer where he gets like blindsided by a guy and they're fighting in this room. So that when there is shaky cam, it's actually done pretty effectively. I'm not saying any of these are like really standout like John Wick level fights, but for what it is, these action sequences, particularly like the end shootout where basically they get these band of mercenaries to help out and save the people, and like they like go to town on these. Like they have like one guy's got literally an anti-tank rifle. He's like blowing holes through cars and hitting men through them. It's pretty epic, and the way that the main villain goes out is a good way to kill a guy. So it's a lot of fun in that regard. If there is something that I'll say that didn't, okay, let me rephrase that. This film does not work on all levels. It's perfectly fine for what it is. And I think that's the best way to put it. It is fine for what it is. If you wanted like a 90s throwback action film, this is the film for you right now. It's perfectly adequate. It reminds me a little bit of Con Air. And I'm not a big Con Air fan because I'm not a big Nicolas Cage fan. Some films are fine. I actually like Ghost Rider just fine. The Rock is a good movie. I'm actually a fan of The Sorcerer's Apprentice. And I actually really liked Incredible Weight of Massive Talent. I actually really liked that film because he was playing up on himself. But that said, this film is certainly not perfect. They're from the get when they take off, when the person who was like basically setting the terms, they're even asking, "There's a storm. We don't want to go through." I was like, "Well, we're trying to save on fuel." Like, so you're telling me this is all because you wanted to save a buck? And they rightly called the guy out for this stupidity too. Like, really? I mean, like, really? But beyond that, like, not many of the auxiliary, that's the word I'm looking for. Auxiliary characters are really any interesting. You get like the one uppity guy who keeps complaining about shit. You get the couple of kids who are just traveling, having a good time. You get the few sacrificial lamb characters that are going to die. You get the not stuffy Brett, but it's kind of full of himself Brett a little bit. You just get a cavalcade of just extras. You get his co-pilot at least is kind of a okay character. He's got a daughter. His wife's dead. Very sad, but I mean, they don't play a huge part in it. Although she is integral in getting their asses saved because I guess it is kind of integral in some way. But yeah, but beyond that, this movie does just suffer from generic-itis, I guess we'll call it. It's just generic. Basically, Gerard Butler has kind of hit that phase in his career. And actually, how old is Gerard Butler right now? Because I know he's younger than Liam Neeson. Let's see. What is his age? Let's find out. Where in the world is Gerard Butler's age? Okay, we'll just we'll cycle back here and just Gerard Butler. Let's see, how old is Gerard Butler now? Gerard Butler. So let's see, Gerard Butler. He's only 50. Okay, he's only 53 years old. He's still actually, I mean, by Hollywood's, I mean, look, 50's not old. Honestly, I would actually. See, a lot of people when they say he's still a young dude, 30s, early 40s. Honestly, at this point, 50s, I think is still young dude, in my opinion. I mean, someone young enough to still be pulling off action convincingly. I mean, Tom Cruise can do it pushing 60. Hell, Stallone does it. I mean, he has to work out and look grotesque sometimes, but he can still do it in his 70s. So, look, anyone is capable of putting action at any point. Hell, Michael Keaton can do action at 70, for God's sake. If you've seen A Protege, you know Michael Keaton can do that. So Gerard Butler looks like it seems to be hitting that phase of his career where, A, he's an actor for hire, so he wants to work and act. But B, he's taking roles where he's kind of the unassuming badass. And while he's kind of that in this role, he's still kind of a normal guy who's never had to kill anybody. So that realization of killing really shows on his face. I like that. But beyond that, he's one of those actors who And I think it was when I saw not Cop Shop, but oh god, oh fuck, that one like a year or two back where it was basically a remake of Heat. Um, oh god, well I got his IMDb up here. I can find it. Hold on. What was the name of that movie? I saw it. I liked it pretty well. He's really pretty solid in it. Not Den of Thieves. Den of Thieves. That one where I saw him, I'm like, okay, he's not Leonidas anymore, and he's probably never gonna want to be Leonidas anymore because the amount of work he probably had to do to get that fit was ridiculous. So he's never gonna be Leonidas anymore, nor do I think he wants to be. But he's got that dad bod where the dad still works out from time to time. Like he's that kind of dad bod where you wouldn't want to mess with him. He does look like he knows how to brawl and crack your head in. He's got that kind of build to him. I noticed it in Den of Thieves. You don't really see him with his shirt off in this. But he's wearing a shirt tight enough that you can tell he's still in good shape. And that one with the Cop Shop earlier, last year actually. No, not last year. Not last year. The previous year. Because I have to keep saying that. 2021, which came out in September. That was a little underrated gem right there. Not an amazing movie, but a fun little movie nonetheless. He seems to be going into this phase of his career where he's kind of doing the Liam Neeson thing, where he's kind of an unassuming badass, or a badass or a guy you can quickly tell you don't want to really be messing with. And he's got like 9 pictures coming. They're doing a sequel to Den of Thieves? I was not aware of that at all. It's in pre-production. Kandar is in post-production. All-Star Weekend, Just Watch Me, Greenland. Oh, yeah, I knew they were doing a sequel to that. Afterburn, Remote Control. I did not know they were doing a sequel to Den of Thieves. Did the film actually make enough money for it? You're not sidetracking completely. Did Den of Thieves make that much money? Well, yeah, all the way from 2018. So, how much money on what budget did this movie? How much money on what budget did this movie make? So it made $80.5 million. That's no small. On a budget of $30 million, my guess is to earn a sequel, it probably only had a marketing budget of like $10 or $15 million, maybe 20. So yeah, actually, no, that would make sense. The film would have made its money back on that. So hey, look, I enjoyed it fine, and I like Gerard Butler, so I'd be down. Either way, though, enough of me waxing poetically about Gerard Butler. I would say this. There's not much else out right now. Let me actually get my current Cinemark screenings up right now. So, yeah, there's not much else out right now. I mean, look, if you want to... In terms of better movies, Avatar 2, although now that I've switched it up, only ranks as my 10th best movie of the year. But it was still a good movie. I mean, if you don't want to long sit, Megan's out. I probably like this. I'd rewatch this over Megan. Puss in Boots. Go see Puss in Boots. See Puss in Boots. My God, go see Puss in Boots. It's so good. It really is so good. I'm seeing it again for a third time tomorrow. But that's date night with my girlfriend tomorrow. Man Called Otto. I really can't recommend or not recommend it. I don't know much about it. I know it's based on a book or a foreign film. Missing. What is the Rotten Tomatoes on Missing right now? I'll probably be revisiting these numbers and this information come Sunday with the box office. 81%. How many critics? 68 critics, 81%. That will probably drop. Probably will be somewhere in the mid-70s. But hey, about 89% of the verified audience members, 50 plus of them, apparently, they liked it. So, I mean, look, it's not my taste. But yeah, House Party's also out. Apparently. Look, Black Panther's still out. Maybe go see Black Panther. Fableman. I probably should at some point actually see Fableman. The Fablemans. And Menu is still in screenings. Still has screenings at 10:25 p.m. at least at my local Cinemark. So hey, look, if you don't have HBO Max or if you just want to see it and support the big screen experience and see it on the big screen, go see The Menu Man. That, spoilers, was my #1 film of last year. So anyway, yeah, Plane's probably among the more entertaining watches out there. Don't get me wrong, Megan's entertaining for how nuts it is. I'll say that. Puss in Boots is just flat out great. Can't speak for A Man Called Otto, Missing, House Party, The Whale, or Whitney Houston's movie. The Menu's great. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to say except, you know what, you can do worse at the movie theater right now. Next week's going to be interesting, though. We'll talk about that on Sunday. So until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.